This video will go over the advanced gameplay for the Automa for the middle class in Hegemony. This is the setup for the middle class Automa player for the advanced rules in Hegemony. Over here on the left side, we have the different actions that the Automa player can take. And on the second level, toward the middle, you've got buy goods and services, then build company and assign workers. And on the bottom level, special action, sell to the foreign market, and propose bill. When it comes to the policies, the fiscal policy, taxation, and welfare state education and immigration are on the bottom level with the ring. And then the other three policies, labor market, healthcare and benefits, as well as foreign trade, they are off the board because these three policies are policies that the middle class player already has in their favor when the game begins. Let's look and see how a turn looks for the middle class player with the advanced Automa. So when we flip over the card, we have a wide variety of options here, because take note, under the action criteria, there are 6 different actions that the middle class player can take, because there are a combination of actions from the working class and the capitalist player in play here. And since there are 6 of them and 4 actions on the action card, and those actions can be in any order, there is a wide variety of possibilities that might show up. So in this case, we start with the action that's on the farthest left, and in this case, it's going to be buy goods and services. And then as you move through the turn, you're going to look at the checks for each one of these actions. This is as opposed to the simple Automa, where you're just going to take the first action that you're able to take on the card. In this case, we are going to do checks for each one. So to start, we're going to do the buy goods and services. And in this case, you have to be able to buy at least one of the 3 resources, health, education, luxury, in a quantity that will allow you to increase your prosperity. We go and check goods and services. Check if the 3 resources that increase your prosperity, health, education, and luxury are available in a quantity equal to your population, even if you bought from 2 sources and if you can afford to buy them. If you're unable to buy any of the 3 resources, you would move the special action up +1. Otherwise, for each eligible resource, check the following. If you can get them for free, you will move buy goods and services up 3. If it will cost you less than 6 per item, but not free, you move it up 2. And if it'll cost you more than 6 per item, you move it up 1. Now with that, if you buy from more than one source, then you have to average the totals. So for example, if you bought 2 for 5 each and your population's 5, and you bought 3 for 10 each, well, 10, 20, 30, 40 would be the total between those 5, and then you divide that by 5. 40 divided by 5 is 8. 8 is a higher number than 6, so you would have to only move it up 1. Even though you had some of those purchases below the threshold of 6, you would have to move it up 1 because the average is going to be higher than that. Take note, goods and services that you have produced yourself can be bought for free, but it still counts as one of the 2 sources that you can buy from. So let's say in this scenario, you are able to get these resources for an average of 6 or less per item. So you're able to move up buy goods and services by 2. So 1, 2 is the total that you moved it up, okay? So that would be the end of that check. The second check that we would take is the assigning workers one. So for assigning workers, you have to be able to assign at least 2 unemployed workers to a company. So the check there looks like this. Swap any skilled workers and unskilled slots with unskilled, unemployed workers if possible. Then check the following. If there's a way to assign workers so at least 2 unemployed workers become employed, you would do assign workers +1 per worker. Otherwise, the special action will go up +1. So let's say in this scenario, you've done your swapping, and then you are able to assign 2 workers to a company. So you get to move assign workers up +2. So notice when the buy goods and services went up, we would slide these in toward the ring. And now we're going to go and move this up +2. 1, 2. So now the assigned workers is on the same level as buy goods and services, but since that was there first, the assigned workers would be on the left side of that, signifying that buy goods and services is the closer one to the center. Therefore, that is the higher priority action. The third action that is on the card is going to be build company. And on the general action criteria, there must be at least 1 company in the market that you can afford to build, have the required worker for, and there's at least 1 empty space on the board. And then if you check the companies for each company in the market you can afford to build, have the workers for, check the following. If there are at least 2 production phases remaining, then you will move build company up 1 per 2 production phases. So if you are at 2, you would move it up 1. If you're at 4 or remaining, you would move it up 2 spots. From there, if it also has a working class worker slot and there's at least 1 unemployed worker who could fill it, move build company up 2 more. If it produces a resource you are currently not able to produce, move build company up 2 more. Then check the following. If your prosperity is equal to or higher than your number of operational companies, you move the build company up 2. And finally, if the previous questions cause the priority card to move 1 step or less, move it up 1. So let's say we've got 2 production phases left, so you can move it up 1. And then you also produce a resource you're not able to currently produce, so you do 1, 2, 3. And if the other 2 are not criteria you can meet, you would not move it up more than that. So then build company goes 1, 2, 3. Finally, the last action here is the proposed bill one. And for advanced mode, you must have a bill marker available and at least 1 policy priority card in a priority row. So when we look at the policies here, we are going to make our determinations based on the ones that are available to us. Labor market and foreign trade are the ones that are here. Now, in this situation, both labor market and foreign trade are off the board, so we would not end up doing anything with this, but let's at least go through and see what we would do. Okay, so for each of the 2 policies listed, again, labor market and foreign trade, if the policy priority card is not set aside and you have at least 1 available bill marker, check where the policy marker is. And then if the current policy is directly next to your desired policy, you go up 1. And if it's 2 away from your desired policy, you move the proposed bill policy up 2. And take note, you would also move the policy's priority card up the same amount of steps. But again, since both of those policies that we have on the card are not on the table, then they are not going to take those steps. All right. If you're unable to propose a bill for either policy, and in this case we wouldn't be able to because of the fact that they're not on the table, we would instead move special action up 1. So from there, we're able to collapse down the actions. You're getting rid of any gaps. You're not moving them farther down where you change the setup of the rows, but instead you're just pulling everything closer together. And then whichever action is on top is the first priority. So in that case, build company will be the action that you're going to take unless there is a reason that you cannot build a company. So you have to be able to afford it, and there has to be workers that are available to work on it, and there has to be empty space on the board. If all three of those criteria are not met, you would then move to buy goods and services. And for the buy goods and services action, you'd have to be able to buy at least one of the three resources, health, education, or luxury, in a quantity that allows you to improve your prosperity and move it up. If, again, you're not able to do that because of the finances or availability of those goods or services, then you would not be able to take that action. So first priority is the highest one, which is build company. If there was another action, say if assign workers was here, well, it's on a higher priority level, you would move from build company to assign workers as the second option. But since it's not, there's only one on the top level, you would move to the next highest, which is the next level, buy goods and services that's closest to the ring. And again, if you could not do that, you only move through the top two actions, and from there, you will apply political pressure if you're unable to do either of those two actions. And applying political pressure will add 3 voting cubes to the voting bag. Let's say you're able to build that company. If you are, then you would move to build company down 2 levels. And if you're unable to build company, let's say you buy goods and services instead, you move buy goods and services down 2 levels. So whatever action you take, you move down 2 levels after the action is taken. When it comes to the policies, the Automa will reset these policies after the round is getting toward the end, and they will put the policies out in reflection to where those policies are compared to the board and what they want. So any of these policies that are their desired policies are off the board. So you pull those cards off entirely, and 2, 4, and 6 were off the board, so we'll just assume that they stayed off the board. These ones were all within a range of 1 of the policy that the middle class desired. Let's just assume in this case that no movement happened. And the reality is the only one where you could have a potential of being 2 away would be number 7. So let's just say, for example, 7 started at B, and during this round, the one of the other teams moved the 7 all the way out to C. And if 7 were then 2 away from what the middle class wants, at the end of the round, they would get to go to the second level because now it's 2 away from what they want. So that would be the highest priority to move. So this is where we would end up. So that's what one turn of the middle class looks like with the advanced Automa and Hegemony. Reference the other videos that I've created about the basic gameplay and rules for the advanced Automa, as well as some other videos for the simple Automa and main gameplay for the whole game of Hegemony if you want to see more and learn more about playing this game.